Hello everybody, and once again welcome back to Just Rickin' Around with me, Rick. So if I say web-slinging, pizza-loving superhero, we all know who that means. I'm talking about Spider-Man. I recently picked up the brand new Marvel Legends 12-inch Spider-Man figure. Much bigger. So starting with the packaging, we've got a beautiful black box all the way around. All the Spider-Man details on it are actually holographic. I guess the box in total is holographic, but it's the most visible on the Spider-Man. So we've got some great pictures of him. I think this is a little bit of a tomfoolery on this one. It's just him pulling on his mask with his closed fist hands. I love this box. I really like the Marvel Legends packaging, but I'm not a huge fan of the fact that it's not actually square. They're more rounded and stuff. I personally absolutely love the Star Wars Black Series line. I think those boxes are fantastic. I've actually got a whole row of them up here. You can't see them, but they're up there, I promise. But I really like those boxes because I just moved houses and it was really easy to just get them packed up safely and moved. I didn't have to worry about any bubbles getting crushed or anything. So I honestly think that if I had the spare funds, I would buy two of these, one to display out of box and one to display in box, just because I really like the way this box looks. It displays well, I think. Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and remove him. Oh my God. This is fantastic. So without the super crazy reflective front box, I guess, we can really see what we're working with here. You've got the two alternate heads. One of them is just going to be the half masked, which is very similar to the Marvel Legends Pizza Spidey, I guess, which is actually my favorite Marvel Legends Spider-Man so far. So this one seems to be really close to that one. Unmasked head. On the very end of the nose, there's actually a little flash nub. All of the figures that I saw had those on there. I don't know if it's like a mold issue. It's a little frustrating, so I'm probably going to take a razor blade to it and try to scrape that off. Oh man, this is nice. He's just got that new figure smell, you know? Not many things quite like that. Oh man, guys. Oh man. First impressions are definitely that I should go back tomorrow and pick up the Captain America and the Iron Man. This is just miles above and beyond anything that I've seen out of the Marvel Legends so far. So first I'm going to talk about articulation. He's got all the articulation of a Marvel Legends. Head rotate forward and back, as well as pivoting on the ball joint. Thigh swivel, double knees, ankle rocker, and then he's also got the calf swivel. But he does have one that the Marvel Legends figures don't have, and that's going to be the... I don't know what that's actually called. Foot joint, I guess? Toe joint? Toe pivot? I don't know. I've never had a figure with that before. So he is, for all intents and purposes, almost exactly like this figure, but just better in almost every way. His paint is a little bit darker. I will say I like the paint on this one, just the tone of the blue a little bit more. As far as everything else goes, this one is much better. The waist, specifically, I know I complain about every single Spider-Man figure that I get, because the waist is usually this awful, awkward, when you turn him to the side, he just gets cut in half. It's on all the Spider-Man. Yeah, the Deadpool and the Taskmaster and the Captain America don't have that just awful cut waist swivel, and neither does the 12-inch. His swivel is inside his chest bend, but the sculpt is fantastic. The paint is fantastic, what paint he does have. The articulation is just incredible. I mean, I don't know the last time I had a figure that can do a full ab crunch like that and actually sit up. I think it's fantastic. It does sound a little weird. That is I don't think it's paint rub because there's not actually very much paint on him. It looks like it's almost all molded plastic except for the webbing lines and stuff. The double knee joints work great. The toe bend, you can really get him into some crazy positions. Also, I don't know what I would call this, but it's on all the Spider-Man. He's got that extra arm movement where you can really get his arms back there, and that just allows for a lot more dynamic posing. I will say mine on this, I guess, bicep swivel, it's really, there's some room and some wiggle to it, which I'm not a huge fan of, but I guess I can deal with it. I'm not going to be actually, playing with him or whatever, but I do think that's worth noting. He does have his little web canisters, which I think is a nice touch, because on the other smaller 6-inch one, they didn't give him the web canisters, but I always think that's a neat little homage to the fact that he didn't originally shoot webs out of his wrists. Well, not physically out of his wrists. So I'm going to try to swap out some of the heads and really see what we're dealing with as far as accessories, and I'll swap out the hands and do a little comparison, like a side-by-side 6-inch versus 12-inch, and really see how the figures are similar and different. Now, I'm not going to say that the hands come out easier than they do on the 6-inch line, but I'm definitely not saying they're any harder to get out, which worries me a little bit, but it's not like he's actually going to be holding his own weight up with his hands, so I suppose it's not a gigantic deal, although I did expect it to be a little bit tighter of a fit than it is. See, it just, I mean, if you really jam it in there, he can hold himself up with it, but I don't recommend displaying him like that or anything. The joints on actual hands are a little bit stiff, not nearly as tight, so it might be just that one. This is a fantastic figure. I mean, he's just wonderful. There's no drawbacks to this that I see so far. I'm sure upon actually, messing with it and trying to display it for real, I will. But as of right now, I mean, he's just wonderful. Everything that they do right in the 6-inch line, they've taken and put in this figure and done more to it as well. So it's really nice. There's no real like plastic injection marks or anything. The only one is going to be on that other head. The 6-inch only has the upper thigh swivel, does not have the calf swivel, nor does it has the toe bend, and the waist is the really ugly turn him sideways and he looks like he's cut in half. This one, the waist, so much better. It is creaky and plastic squeaky, but that doesn't bother me. I would much rather have it be squeaky when I'm actually physically moving it than have it just be awkward and ugly the whole time I have it posed. Now, the faces on the two figures with the mask half pulled up are almost the exact same mold, just scaled up. I'm actually willing to bet that it is the same mold, just scaled up and tweaked just a little bit. But when you get them really side by side, I don't know how well you can see, it's actually almost identical. The figures are really close in appearance. The 12-inch just feels so much better. This feels solid and nice and like something like a collectible. Now that I've had the nicer one, this feels cheap and gimmicky. No, that's crazy because Marvel Legends I love so much, and Spider-Man specifically. This is actually my favorite Spider-Man figure I own. Until this one came along. I know this one's going to be my new favorite. I'm really looking forward to see what Marvel's going to do next in the 12-inch line, because I'm assuming these are going to sell like wildfire. I got this guy yesterday. They had 5 Spider-Man, 5 Iron Mans, and 5 Captain Americas. It looked like they had just stocked a case. And when I went back today, they had 1 Spider-Man, 2 Captain Americas, and like 3 Iron Men. So the Spider-Man, plural Spider-Man is Spider-Man, specifically selling really well, and that's because I think it's the best looking figure out of the line. I mean, I'm sure there are people who are Team Cap or Team Iron Man or whatever, but I'm definitely Team Peter Parker. Give me Web Slinger or give me death, my friend. Best superhero, hands down. Now the heads really, I don't feel like I'm going to break anything taking them off. Like I did with my Deadpool, I thought he was going to snap every time I tried to move his head around. So for the last head as well as other set of hands, it's just going to be the completely unmasked Peter Parker, which I think looks fantastic. Tobey Maguire is definitely my favorite Spider-Man actor, and this looks nothing like him, except the eyes are going to be the blue instead of the OG Spider-Man, hazel brown, green, somewhere in that field. I was talking earlier about there just being a little bit of flash on the tip of his nose, and it's just on the very, very tip, but if you just look at it, it looks just wrong. It's not a huge deal, and I'm sure I could just take my fingernail and take it off, but it did kind of throw me off a little bit. The range of motion in the heads is wonderful. They're able to do a lot more because the peg that the ball joint's sitting on is just a little bit bigger. So you can really, you can get him looking anywhere you want to get him to look. It's a natural amount far back as well. It doesn't look crazy or forced or anything. Closed fists are just a regular closed fist. He does have, it looks like veins in the back of his hand or tendons or whatever coming through, which I think is nice. The sculpting, they didn't go overboard with all of the muscle definition, but there's like fabric stretch, like on the chest right here, and then on his back, and a little bit on the back of his calves. The only swirling I see in the plastic is on the back of the calves, which isn't a huge deal or whatever, because I'm not going to be looking at the back of his calves very often. It is Spider-Man, so I might. Honestly, fantastic figure. I'm going to give this one a 9 out of 10, because A, Spider-Man's my absolute favorite hero of all time, and B, because this is just a fantastic figure. I don't think I'm ever going to be rotating this one out of my display. I rotate stuff every once in a while, out with the old, in with the new, but I think he's going to be permanently on display on mine because he's just fantastic. And stature-wise, he's just huge. Honestly, I would recommend buying this for yourself, for your girlfriend, for your boyfriend, for your husband, for anyone you know who really is a fan of Spider-Man or a fan of collecting things. He's wonderful. Super fantastic. I am absolutely in love. I don't know the last time that I took a figure out of the packaging and just immediately loved it this much. As always, thanks for just ricking around. I'm Rick, and I'll talk to you next time. Thank you.